Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is One Leads. We've got a review for you today. It's your three things that we learned last night. How are we all doing? How are we all doing after last night? What an incredible win for Leeds United, coming away at 3-1 victors over top of the league, Leicester City. I didn't do a live last night. Wanted to do a pre-record to see how that did. It's done really well. So thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. We're going to be doing a Patreon video directly after this. But yeah, I'm still on cloud nine, to be honest with you. Leeds 3, Leicester 1. I think I've watched the atmosphere for all three goals about 150 times already. I'm gutted I couldn't have been there last night. It looked and sounded, and it was reviewed as probably the best atmosphere we've seen this season, and B, probably one of the best atmospheres that has ever been at Ellen Road. It looked raucous. It looked not only South Standing Cop with respect to the East and West, but it looked like all four sides of Ellen Road was absolutely rocking. So yeah, amazing to see the atmosphere like it was, and amazing to see Leeds get back into the game. Hilarious now that we're once again hearing Maresca come out and say that Leeds didn't deserve anything. I wonder when this guy will say that we deserved something. Listen, we all know that Leicester, for a large part of that game, as I mentioned on last night's review, were probably the dominant team. But what I will say is Leeds won the game 3-1, 4-1 in aggregate. Not only that, but overall, we still had massive chances. Perot missing those two. We'll get onto him in just a little bit. But, we did have big chances. Willian Yonso, massive chance for us to get back in the game at 1-1. So they went through, clear, didn't they? They had the offside goal. They hit the bar. But we had a fair few chances as well. It wasn't just as one-sided as some people are making out. And yeah, I thought it was... I thought Leicester were probably the better team, but overall, towards the back end of the game, who cares? Who honestly cares? We were the better team in the first game. We won the game. We were arguably the worst team in the second game and still won the game. We've done the double on Leicester. We've done the double on the best team in the division. So it's all happy from me. It's all smiles from me. And they need to get over it, because the amount of whinging I've heard afterwards, it's the referee's fault. It was Leeds only started playing on 80 minutes. Our players were tired. Oh, goodness me, the excuses. The biggest stat is the result. And also alongside that, Leeds United now 6 points behind them. If Leicester and if Southampton and Ipswich were in today, Jesus Christ, you're going into the last 11, 12 games with any team who can win the league. Any team can win the league. Do you know what I mean? It's mental. Absolutely mental. So keep getting your comments in, everybody. Grab a Tisky, Connor. Oh, not this morning, mate. Not this morning. Shout out to everybody who's in here. How many Tiskies you have last night? Shout out to you, Ronnie, joining a part of the YouTube memberships. You can become part of the YouTube memberships by hitting the join button, everybody. Link in the description below. Become part of the Patreon as well. We've got a couple of new members last night. Morning, Connor. Absolutely chuffed. And had a few tinnies with you on the post-match review. Was mental in there last night. It says, Chris, lost my voice. Great news. Great news, mate. Des, still buzzing. Nice shirt, Connor. Cheers, mate. Yep, the Motley crew. Morning, Connor. I thought Rutter had a shocking first half. When Bamford came on, Rutter was arguably the best player. And it's a good point to bring up there, Cal. I was going to start speaking about that anyway. The thing is, because we rely on him so much, especially creatively, I think one thing we learned last night is if we are to get to the Premier League, and if a lot of people are to say, we're keeping almost the same framework with a couple of additions, which, believe it or not, I've seen online, you've got to see the weaknesses there. Everything goes through Rutter. Everything, especially centrally, which in the Premier League it's going to do, because you're going to get more defenders like Chowdhury on Somerville. Aggressive, really, really aggressive, and off the next level when it comes to calibre as well. Leicester it felt like a real test when it came to Premier League last night. With all respect to them, I know we've had banter, I know we've had this, that, and the other, but I feel like overall I've given Leicester a lot of respect on this channel in general. Gave them a bit of stick yesterday, of course I did, but it's part and parcel of football. They're the best team I've seen at Ellen Road. They were very, 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 very good. And listen, Leeds were in the game, obviously, and we were. And in my opinion, there's an argument that we deserved to win last night. We won 3-1, so who cares about, them winning this so-called boxing match that I'm making up? But it's just a nice sort of like way of discussing it, really. But they're a very good team, in terms of the caliber and quality. I still wonder about the manager and them systematically, and if another manager could get even greater out of that side in the Championship. But can we be saying that now when they're at top of the league? But I wonder in the Premier League how Leicester are going to work. That's a different conversation. I wonder how Leeds are going to work in the Premier League. But I thought so much of it went through Rutter. but everything good came through him as well in the second half, didn't it, as well, Cal? And everybody in the chat, everything goes through him. And I thought it was interesting that we relied on him so heavily last night. He lost the ball in the first half 21 times. 21 times. Rodon, I didn't think was good last night. And listen, we're talking Premier League class, aren't we? We're talking Premier League. We're talking about a Premier League press. Daka, Mavididi, Fatawu. And it was so interesting to see how certain players acclimatized to that. I thought, anyway, when we're talking about that next level, because Leicester are going to be there, I think, with probably us in the Premier League. But, that is that style of team, isn't it? But yeah, Bamford, and let's be honest, Bamford when he came on and James when he came on, I thought changed the game. But I had a little bit of a rewatch of the game again this morning. I'm going to go back on a couple of things I said last night. I mentioned Nonso, and I thought I was mentioning last night that I thought he had a poor game, but watching it back, I thought he was involved in a hell of a lot. He really was, especially when Leeds were trying to break from deep. I thought he took the extra touch a little bit too much. I thought that chance he had to score. He had to drill that in the bottom corner. I don't know what he was doing. I thought he overthought a lot last night, but still in build-up, I thought he was pretty impressive. Best team in the division, and was time wasting after that goal. Sujal says, sorry joining late. What a game. I was nearly in tears at the end. Didn't play great, but we saw it though. Rode our luck and took the giant and took the points. It was like a Prem game last night. Joe's in the building. Just incredible last night. The adrenaline I had, unbelievable. Ampadu was excellent. Yeah, I thought Ampadu bringing the ball out from the back. I don't know if you guys saw this, but sort of, another thing that we learned really was that when Ampadu had the ball, as we've set up with Pascal Strout, when the next to Joe Rodon, they have to be the proactive ones. And I think that's another thing we learned last night, that if Ampadu is to ever play at Premier League level at centre-back, he's going to have to be tasked to be the person who bypasses that front press. I thought last night, and in my opinion, everybody, they did sort of something similar to us in that first game when they were trying to press us a little bit high. We try to press them high. They try to press us high. But last night was a massive, massive understanding in comparison to the first game of how much we miss Pascal Strout. Just that person who's there, available from corners, to be athletic, to be physical, to be tall, to be aerially dominant as well, but also someone to bring the ball out from the back, and really help Leeds in that position. I thought Leeds last night missed Ampadu in that midfield. I really did. I thought that balance of him and Kamara in that first game were brilliant. And I thought in that first game, Strauch and Rodon were brilliant together. I think I watched a match review that I had after the game, and I was talking about Strauch and Ampadu, just how they were able to play the ball out from those back lines into the midfield and get Leeds up the pitch. It wasn't just Somerville. It wasn't just, the players going forward in Perot, etc. It was Ampadu and Rodon and Strauch who were brilliant. Last night, I thought that was missing a little bit, but Ampadu really grew in that second half. And do you know what? What I loved about him as well is that he was giving it as well at the end, wasn't he? Wasn't a huge game. And listen, I had all this rebuttal afterwards from how we were reacting. Oh, well, Enzo Maresca was right. Well, also, you got to contextualise what we did last night. If we'd have drawn the game last night, none of us would have been, massively upset. So it wasn't like a must-win game for Leeds. I think we all know that. It'd have put the pressure on a little bit, but it wasn't a must. In my opinion, it really wasn't a must-win game. But I thought he got that wrong last night, Enzo Maresca. What did I say in the preview? He said he's made a big error here, because what's going to happen now is that crowd is going to be 200, 300, 400% louder, and they're going to be right up for it on a Friday night. All had a few beers throughout the day as well. People will have been travelling over, and he's ignited a fire up all the fans' arses, which he did last night, which was reflected in the atmospheric nature that we saw last night, which was probably the best home atmosphere there's been in the country this season. So, I mean, this is not by a Leeds fans bias, by the way. This is people saying this on social media. Like, they couldn't believe how loud Ellen Road was last night. And a fire was lit. As a fire was lit by Frank Lampard with the Bielsa days, a fire was lit by Maresca last night. So, and once again, in his post-match, as he did previously, he didn't give Leeds any credit whatsoever. Not an incremental bit of credit last night for hanging in there and winning the game 3-1. They should have won. We were the better team. For 80 minutes, we dominated. I just think the guy can come across a little bit bitter, but we're not here to talk about him. There's been a bit of a donation here. We're going to get onto Archie Gray. Don't worry, everyone. This is more of just a bit of a reflection as well. We're not just going to be talking about 3 things that we learn. Keep getting your comments in. Is Connor alive? 90 minutes late. I am, mate. I am here. Let's have a quick look. Dave, hi Dave. Thanks for donation, my man. Ellen Road was bouncing last night, Connor. Even the East Stand where I sit, great to catch you live. That's fantastic to hear, mate. Because the East, we always get a lot of discussion about the East and the West not being as loud. But I mean, I've seen stuff of. I'm gutted I wasn't there. I'm going to Stoke. If some of you are going to the Stoke game, give me a shout. I'm getting there, which I can't wait for. I got offered a ticket for Leicester last night, but I just couldn't get there. I got offered it at about 4 p.m. I had no way of getting there. And I'll be honest with you, I had a few cheeky Paul Arners as well, so I couldn't get there. So, yeah, let's talk about Archie Gray. Get it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I want you to talk to me about Archie Gray. I want every single one of you to give me a one-word review of Archie Gray last night. Do you know what it was to me? One word: emotional. I went absolutely berserk when he scored that goal. Once again, everybody, as you know, if you've been an OG of the channel, you will know that we get noise complaints here if we go nuts. And I went absolutely nuts last night and pretty much thudded the wall again. If you are OGs of the channel, you will know that when Willie Gnonto scored that goal against Old Trafford, I lost my house deposit. I lost my house deposit. I had to repaint the whole wall. I just went absolutely mental. Happened again last night. But when he did that, I felt so emotional because, and you see Eddie in the crowd clapping him, absolutely buzzing. And you hear the commentator talking about the Grey dynasty. And, I tell you what, for him to go left back, Roberts came on. Shout out to Conor Roberts as well. Drilled that, a bit of composure in the 80th minute. Drilled that ball in. Fantastic to see from him. Big impact when he came on as well. I thought he was really good. Didn't speak about him last night. But Archie went from right. So not only has he gone from centre to right, he went from right to left. And to get the ball to shimmy, to almost sort of like that little bit of agility to go on your left foot to keep you balanced when the ball's coming over you quickly. And listen, I know he didn't hit it cleanly, too cleanly, or maybe he did hit it cleanly. It was just going wide. And the celebration, he did everything, every single one of us, if we're a Leeds player, we dream about it. You might be 40, 50, 60-year-old, you might be 12, 13, 14, whatever, still dreaming about playing for them. We all would have done what Archie did last night. Hands aloft, screaming, running it to the Ellen Road, diving into the crowd almost, and they're all around him. And it was, what a significant moment in his career for his first Ellen Road goal, for his first Leeds United goal, for him to almost just dive into the Kop and win the game theoretically against Leicester. What a moment for him. What a moment for him. And, he can play left, he can play right, he can play. The guy's a joke. He's 17. He's 17. It's unbelievable the talent this boy has. He could be one of the top 3-4 talents we've ever produced. And I'm talking ever. He's that good at that age. We can talk about Lorimer, we can talk about the rest, but I don't know, obviously it was a different level. I understand that completely. But just what he's doing, the versatility, the quality he is showing at such a young age. It is of yesteryear, of Leeds in the 60s and 70s, Revy's boys. It's that sort of caliber. Top. Absolutely top. Unbelievable, says Brandon. Archie Gray versus Milner. Eddie's smile in the crowd was a beautiful moment. My son Chelsea fan was screaming and singing Archie on together along with me. Archie did well, especially rotating to left back after never played there. And he scored. So that's a plus. Yeah, I agree, Ronnie. Did it count with a goal? Of course it did, mate. Gray is the future of this club. Passionate, says Barney Bear. Morning, Connor. I can't speak this morning. Left my voice in the West End. Shout out to you, Jay. Great to see him get his first goal defensively. Mavadidi had him on toast a lot that match, but Mavadidi has a lot of right backs on toast, so can't misjudge him on that. Going to be a World Cup winner with Jude. Kamara was fantastic. Yeah, we'll start speaking about Kamara in just a little bit. Kickstart my heart. But yeah, and it's just, it was amazing. It was a beautiful moment being a Leeds United fan for me last night for so many reasons when it came to Gray, and I'm sure you guys were the exact same. James came on, and it was hilarious how Bamford got the goal, wasn't it? Bamford got the goal and just ran off the other way. So if you guys didn't know that it came off Bamford's knee, I thought it was a bit harsh, to be honest. But that's how football is, and it came off Bamford's knee and wasn't given as a James goal. Weirdly, I think James would get an assist for that, which is just strange how these football metrics work. But yeah, listen, it was a really exactly what you wanted James to do in that position. Just drill it low and hard, maybe hope for a deflection so the keeper is wrong-footed a little bit, and he was. But the reality of it, I don't want to speak too much about the worries, because there isn't many worries for me. We've just beaten top of the league 3-1. I think a lot of you can probably see now why I've called so many times, and I get there's a lot of like people on here who are not on here, I should say, who watch the videos who say, Connor, you're negative, negative, negative. I don't feel I am. I feel I've been very positive about Leeds this season, but I don't see it as negativity. I just see it as realism. You can see how this team needs serious investment if they're to be playing that caliber, that quality of side week in, week out in the Premier League. I thought there's a lot of reliance on Rutter last night, a lot of reliance. I thought when we were pressed from the front, from the opposition, we struggled a little bit to break the lines. It was interesting how some of it was just completely nullified for the large part of the game. And you saw the finishing as well, guys. We've been saying in the Rotherham game, we've been saying in all these games that we've been playing, Plymouth, Bristol City, Swansea, we should be 4, 5, 6, 7-0 up. And we are as much as we score goals, we are quite wasteful. We are quite wasteful. And you saw that again last night. I think once again, we do have to have a bit of a conversation about Perot, however you want to describe it. Coin his name. We'll go with Perot. I've always said Perot. I'm not going to change it now. I know it's wrong, but there you go. A bit of an off game for him again. And I did look at him last night. I thought it was a big game for you. I thought it was a big game for Archie. I thought it was a big game for Willie. And I thought it was a massive game as well for Joe Perot. At the minute, I can't get on board with him. I just can't get on board with him, even though he scored as many goals as he has. This is why I've said before, and I've said it on the Patreon, it's more of a luxury player. It's someone who has the technical ability to help Leeds in so many advantages, but I just don't see it. And it's not a diminishing comment on his work ethic either. It's really not. But I feel it's more of a luxury player. As I've said to you guys several times, when we're winning a game, he joins in, he scores a goal, he'll get an assist. When we're winning a game, when it's quite comfortable, he's not been a match winner for us yet. Enough for me. So the goals he's got 11 goals. But there's a reason Farke's putting him on the bench for Bamford, who's not got a prolific scoring record, but makes us look so much better. Bamford came on last night, and it was Leeds looks. We had a focal point. We had someone who was on the last line of the defence. We had someone who will be rough with the defenders and give them a little bit of a challenge in there. I thought once again, Perot dropping very, very deep. And when the opportunities came his way, we have to be honest here. These are the big moments in the Premier League, and this probably will be a Premier League fixture next season that we criticise Bamford for, missing those big opportunities and those big moments, ironically against Leicester last time in the Premier League. But Perot, two massive opportunities, and he spooned them both, especially the header. For a centre forward, I don't know what he's doing there. So they were the key moments, really. And I did think to myself, it's not going to be our day, really. There's few, Somerville chance squandered, Nonto chance squandered, but it did give you a little bit of a view into the Premier League campaign when or if we are to get there. On how much, in my opinion, this squad needs developing on in areas, to be honest with you, that I think that are key. So let me know what you guys think on that one. Really interesting to hear what you think. Morning, Connor from Iceland. Hi, Chris. Surprised to find a huge and loyal Whites fan base here. We are everywhere. We are, mate. I mean, unfortunately, I'm on the dark side of the Pennines, and there's loads here, hidden in the corners. Somerville was man-marked the full game. Yeah, I agree. Pro isn't it? Why isn't he ruthless like he was for us against Swansea? The system. A lot of people talking about Melee as well. Alistair's mentioned Melee. Agree completely. If this squad gets promoted, we need serious investment. Put money in and Farke work his magic. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think there's a few. There's a few. And this is what we have to talk about. It's a review of the game, isn't it? The three things. So it's not just, I want it to be quite a unique staple of your weekend. It's not just us talking about the game and stuff. I want us to if you guys haven't picked up on something or I haven't picked up on something, I want us to learn off each other a little bit. Furpo's probably another one who, when he's been excellent, really good for Leeds United. These are the games that we judge them on, though, aren't they? Your Perots, your Bamfords, your James, your Nontos, the big games against the big boys, and we're going to be playing the big boys next season if we do get to the Premier League. We've got to judge some of these players on that. And I will say, Firpo threw me back a little bit to former Firpo then. And I know he did with you guys there. He was caught in possession numerous times by Fatu. And I thought Fatu had him on toast a little bit in that game. Skipped past him a couple of times, prevented Firpo from really getting forward. I thought Fatu did well from a defensive standpoint as well. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how that develops in the Premier League. We've got to invest in a left back for me. So Firpo, listen, against opposition who we have to be honest, have been a lot lesser of the components of a Leicester. He's looked very, very good. But last night was, okay, we're against some Premier League side here, really, if we're being honest with you, who shone, who didn't. So I thought it was quite interesting last night. It was good to see Parag at the end. He was fully exposed to the Ellen Road magic. Yeah, he was, and that was great. I thought it was excellent to see Parag there, and you wonder if he'd have been looking at little bits of this lead side and thinking, right, we need investment here, we need investment there. But that's to worry about another day. Uh, as well as talking about where we need to improve, as well as talking about that next step. Leeds are second in the division. We've pulled them back. We've done the double on the best team in the division, statistically. So it's a great moment for the club. It's a great moment for Leeds United fans today. We can all enjoy ourselves this weekend. Southampton, Ipswich, the likelihood of them winning is high, but football works in mysterious ways. So is there an opportunity for Millwall and Birmingham to do us a favour this weekend? I believe Millwall just got a new manager, haven't they? Is it Neil Harris? That's going to be interesting when we play him again. But yeah, so it's a different era for him as well, different era for Millwall. Obviously with Joe Edwards leaving, so I believe one of the two are playing them. So yeah, we will see what happens there. There's a likelihood that they match us on points, but by God, everyone, we could potentially be going into the last 12 games with with 4 teams 7 points apart. It's mental. It really is. But I had an excellent, excellent evening last night. Excellent evening last night, and yeah, wow, what a period it's been. And Leeds have got some favourable fixtures, in my opinion. I believe we've got 4 in our next sort of 5 games. 4 teams who are below 15th. So that's benefit. That's a massive benefit to the club. You'd expect now for Leeds to extend that winning run as well. The fullback areas will need at most surgery. Yeah, I agree with you, Tashin. Agree, kind of felt Ronan was a bit off. The press disrupted him. Passing was slow and predictable. Ampadu's ability to carry the ball and ride tackles to break the line was missing from our midfield. Yeah, I agree. And do you know what? As well, I heard this mentioned, and I think it was on the square ball last night. And me and Gabe had this exact conversation last night. I think it was because it was a big game. I think there was a lot of like shouting and stuff like that from him. Rodon gave me the Pontuses last night. Gave me the Pontus Janssen vibe, not the Ben White vibe, the Rolls Royce, but he did give me the Pontus Janssen vibe. Just a proper defender, someone who will, and I sort of realised it a little bit last night. A proper defender, someone who will head at absolutely everything. Someone who makes us strong from corners, offensively and defensively. But when asked to pass out from the back, and this is probably why Ange just moved him on a little bit at Spurs, because that's what he demands of his centre backs. He looked a little bit when put under pressure. I thought he struggled a bit. Rode on last night. Thought he really, really struggled a little bit. Thought it was one of his poorer games for Leeds. But I do think if you'd had him just covering and Strauch in front of him, that's no detriment to Ampadu. Because I think Ampadu in front of those two would have been brilliant as well. We needed that in the midfield. I felt at points last night. I thought Gruev, maybe you guys disagree. I thought Gruev was a bit quiet, but yeah, I personally thought that yeah, he gave me a bit of the Janssens last night. I thought because I know there's been a lot of comparisons to Ben White, but I've always said on here he's very different, very 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 different to Ben White. I think Ben White's more of the Strauchs. But yeah, he gave me obviously a much better footballer than Pontus ever was, but he gave me a lot of those vibes last night, to be honest with you. Brandon says, "Did you know 12 wins in a row is the record, Connor?" I didn't, mate. I didn't. Kamara was awesome last night. Yeah, Kamara was very good. I thought he was very good, especially in that second half. I always, I always say this, but he's the most pressure resistant player we've got. If you've got a midfielder pressing hard on him, he'll bypass it. He'll bypass it. He'll use his body really well. And I think when you're pressure resistant, you do use your body really well. You've got to be excellent with your feet, of course. You have keeping that ball close control, but using your body to just shield that man who's trying to press you and move beyond him is an excellent skill when you're under sort of stress. And I thought he did that really, really well last night. Kamara, our best midfield player last night, definitely. And once again, it was against Leicester City, which is the best team in the division. So it was a really, really good performance from him. And yeah, once again, didn't see much of Winks. Dewsbury Hall, I thought was really good in the first 30 minutes. I thought he was getting a lot of the ball, but I thought he got a bit quieter, and I think that's a lot of that was Kamara getting into the game. Remy says, thought the crowd was flat until we started scoring. We showed our young experience for 70 minutes. Perfect sub at the right time. Remy, were you down at the ground? Here he is. Bowden's in the building. Yeah, I don't know if you were down at the game, mate. Then fair enough. But from what I heard, and what you could hear on the TV, even being an armchair supporter, you could hear. I thought the atmosphere was really good. I thought it was buzzing, to be honest with you. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that one to see how that, let me know what you think. Les has had a few chats for Odom coming out and he struggled with the presser on him. Yeah, I agree with that. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Head on over to SofaScore. I've been using a lot of the SofaScore stuff this morning. It helps me if you guys download it. It's free. Link in the description below. Join as a YouTube member if you want. Everybody would really appreciate that. Shout out to Ronnie, who's donated a membership as well. We're heading on over to the Patreon now to do player ratings and to read a few your guys' comments out. Really appreciate the support as always. We'll have more videos coming out throughout the weekend and throughout the week, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on the other side.